ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to address the Northern Cape Elective Conference. The top 5 of the Provincial Executive Committee were re-elected unopposed last night. The conference is taking place in Springbok under the theme Renewal, Unity and Reconstruction in the year of Charlotte Maxeke. Our reporter Ulrich Hendrick is standing by and he joins us now. Ulrich, good afternoon and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Even getting to the point where you have the top 5 in the province being re-elected, there was a contest even leading up to this conference.
Well, there wasn't much of a contest, Aldrin. Zamani Sol and those backing him won about 4 of the 5 regional conferences, and those are the conferences or the regions that were in support of him and his top 5 being re-elected for a second term. So JTG who was supposed to sit last week, and we know there's a very huge anti-Zamani Sol sentiment there, that regional conference failing to sit because of a lack of numbers. But that was basically the only region that posed a threat to Zamani Sol, Desinganga and the others' re-election here at this conference here in Springbok in the Northern Cape. Of course, during his keynote address, he spoke very strongly against the suspended SG of the ANC, saying that of all the 15 SGs that the ANC has had, this one is basically putting the party into disrepute. He says that an SG of the ANC is supposed to be the first line of defense when there's trouble facing the ANC, and this SG is Magashule, of course, not doing it and actually putting the party into threat. So the elections, there's been deliberations here this morning, and then they've just concluded the election of additional members for the PSC. And then President Cyril Ramaphosa is addressing the conference at 3 today. That is done virtually. They did expect him to come to Springbok to basically address them here, but that's not happening. He instead will be doing it virtually. Aldrin?
And also, Ulrich, this conference, as Zamani Sol has indicated, is one of the first provincial conferences to take place, and also happening ahead of the ANC's own, this is now the national body structure of the party's own elective conference, which is expected to take place only next year. However, though, what we've seen on social media is that discussions around succession is already underway. Is there any sentiment being expressed at that conference around who should be leading the party over the next 5 years after next year's elective conference of the ANC?
Well, as with the provincial leadership, this region or the Northern Cape is always very strongly behind President Cyril Ramaphosa. You'll recall that the province also was the first last time around, was also the first to conclude its provincial conference, and as soon as that was done, they announced that they are in fact backing Cyril Ramaphosa as ANC president back then. While that sentiment is still prevailing, this is a stronghold of President Cyril Ramaphosa, ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa, and that sentiment is continuing. So still a huge backing in terms of President Cyril Ramaphosa to lead the party after next year's elective conference.
And just quickly tell us about some of the other contentious issues which would be discussed during this conference.
Well, a huge part of the conference and what they've been telling the delegates here is about corruption. You'll recall that the previous ANC chair of this area, John Block, he was found guilty of fraud and corruption. He's currently serving a sentence. So the party had to dig deep and basically clean up corruption and at least see that they are doing something about corruption here in the Northern Cape. And so they basically, again in his address to delegates yesterday after being re-elected, he basically then said that we are doing something, and that the perceived attitude of government and about the ANC in terms of corruption and fraud within the business of the ANC and the business of government, it is that they are doing something, in fact, to eradicate that, and they're taking quite a hard stance about it. The step-aside issue also came up yesterday in the form of Deputy SG Jessie Duarte, who also spoke to delegates. She was saying that this step-aside issue is not necessarily about the individual, namely Ace Magashule, who's been a high-profile victim of the step-aside issue. So they're saying that a lot of people actually have done it in the past, and she spoke about John Block in this provincial contents, where when he started facing corruption charges, he then stepped aside. She also mentioned other names as well. So that also being discussed here, but as we know, the provincial government is the provincial ANC is strongly in support of that. It's been dominating the regional conferences, all four that did take place. So that issue has been discussed in those forums, and it will likely come up again here as well. Eldrin.
Do you expect the president of the ANC to address the delegates?
Well, like I said earlier, he was supposed to come here to Springbok. Delegates are, of course, a bit disappointed that they won't see their president in person. But he'll be speaking via Zoom at 1500. We hope to broadcast that live to you as well on SABC News Channel 404. But he's going to talk at 1500, Eldrin.
Thank you so much for your time. That is Ulrich Hendrick there joining us from the Northern Cape in Springbok, where the ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to address delegates at the ANC Northern Cape's Provincial Elective Conference. And as you've heard there last night as well, the top 5 of the ANC in that province have been re-elected unopposed.